Mm. Welcome to the show today, baby. This your boy Jimbo Dean, aka Jimbo Slice, aka Jimmy O Bomb. And please don't get it misconstrued. Don't never call me no Washington National fan. And please do not call me no goddamn New York Mets fan. This is Down Yonder Sports. And this is it's already going down. We already 3 games in. Series, we are in. That's my co-host, Big Mike, over there in Atlanta. Ground zero. What is going on, boy? The Braves is back and on fire. What's up,
Man,
Mike?
you preaching today, man, because when you say that, you know what
Yeah.
that makes me think of? Listen, you left one out. Please don't call me. Listen, don't call Mike Dub. Don't call me no Marlins fan. Because
Oh, whoa,
hey,
whoa,
hey,
hey,
yeah, I don't want to start the show off with a
hey,
bombshell, but hey,
hey,
listen,
you know.
Miami Marlins, y'all ruining it for the rest of everybody else. Because listen, down yonder fans. Now listen, did we not enjoy this weekend with watching the Braves and the
What's
Mets,
up?
even with the cutouts, in the stands? Was
Yeah.
that not the most normal weekend that we've had in a long time? So
Mhm.
listen, Miami Marlins. I almost went through my closing thoughts now. Miami Marlins. Listen, stay in the bubble. Do what they ask you to do. Follow the protocol.
Yeah.
Don't go out. South Beach is beautiful, but listen, it'll be beautiful when all this stuff is over with.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
keep this a sports show. So look, Jimbo, I'm gonna switch it back to you, bro. So what's on your mind today, man?
Hey, good
What
job, man. Boy, you came in a hot and heavy on the boy. They need to
ooh,
cut
ooh,
it out down there, man. I don't know what they got going on.
ooh.
But today, we finna drop something a little different out there, Atlanta Brave Nation, down yonder nation. I was going through my Twitter last night, and I said, man, I'm thinking about something, and if I see something, I'm finna put it on the show. So I asked my Twitter, the Braves Twitter, really fast. Who want to be on the show? But before I even got my answer back, I'm scrolling down and I found somebody who gave me, who dropped a tweet that, man, it was hot and heavy. It was on my mind. And boy, I was thinking almost that same thing when I seen the tweet, and it got me going. And so I want to give a shout out to old Caitlin Barlow and the tweet coming in now. That's Caitlin Barlow. Good tweet on the mind. Got to be on these Atlanta Braves fan mind. If this ain't on your mind, I don't know what to tell you because Willie C. William Contreras has been a gent. He been looking good. Becoming a fan favorite too. Young man. I said it in my last Atlanta Braves show. Young man. Let me read a tweet, man. As y'all can see on the screen, y'all can read it, but I'm finna read it for you. Caitlin Barlow, what's going on? What's going on over there now?
Shout out to Caitlin Barlow.
Call it
Shout out to you.
Caitlin Noah
Thank
Sports, boy. I mean,
you.
good
Appreciate
God Almighty. So Caitlin started off saying, so for real, are we really going to have to send Willie C away when our normal catchers feel better? That's Fowler and that's Flowers, and they're not. Because I have found myself becoming a big fan, and I'm not convinced that the other two are really any better. Oh man, good God Almighty, did she drop a bomb shell? That was on my mind. Nah, I'm finna say this. Good tweet. I'm finna say this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, Atlanta Braves fans out there, ask yourself kind of what Caitlin is asking herself right now. What I'm asking myself right now. What Mike is asking himself. Should we send this kid back down, or should we let this kid stay up and keep rolling? Should we ride this momentum out? I'm gonna say this before I pass it on to you, Mike. I can remember back in the day with New England Patriots. I'm gonna change sports. And Drew Bledsoe was in the game. Then Drew Bledsoe got hurt. And then somebody came in by the name of Tom Brady. A little nobody out of Michigan. I knew his career, but that changed that franchise in a major way. I'm not saying Willie C could do that, but Willie C got the potential to do that. Now, Mike, should we send him back down when them other 2 boys come out of their quarantine? Or should we keep Willie C up here and let Willie C keep rolling? And I'm gonna drop his stats later on. But what you think, Mike? Give me your thoughts on this, cause Willie C been doing all right, man.
So I'm gonna put you, Caitlin. I'm gonna put my co-host. I'm gonna put y'all in the same car together because I'm gonna pump the brakes on both
Okay,
comparisons. Only
okay,
because of this. Only because I think. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm a Willie C fan. I'm a Contreras fan because
right.
just um, here's one thing about Contreras. Contreras actually, man, he was one of those guys out of the Dominican Republic that He was kind of like Acuna. We signed him very early. I believe we signed him at the age of 16, right? So at 17 years old, he was already playing minor league baseball, right?
Yeah.
So clearly the talent is there, right? And to be honest with you, defensively, right now, he's one of the best defensive catchers in the league right now. But I think that what I had to do, because I wasn't really, really familiar with Willie C until we started talking about him and Caitlin and you guys started talking about him. And one thing that I noticed about him is that he does strike out a lot, right? So
Right.
what I like that Willie C did is he filled in for this weekend. Tyler Flowers, DR Nod, they went down with COVID. This might be something that's a reoccurring thing. We could do a
Right.
whole show on that. But again,
Right.
from the baseball standpoint is, hey, who's in the foxhole with me? And hey, today Willie C is in the foxhole, and Willie C stepped up. So what I'm saying is this: I trust Ron Washington. This goes back to Ron Washington, looking at his bat, looking at his tendencies, because Ron Washington is the guy that works. If he felt like DR Nod and he felt like Flowers are better catchers, then I'm gonna go with Ron Washington.
Right.
But I will say this: whether it's Willie C, whether it's DR Nod, whether it's Flowers, at the end of the day, all of this is just a holding pattern to Shea Langoliers gets up to speed, because you nailed it on one of our last Brave shows when you talked about Shea Langoliers possibly taking somebody's job. I still believe that to be the case, and I wouldn't rule out 30 games into this season. It's only 60 games, but 30 games into the season, if Langolier is continuing to make the progression that I think that he will, and they're keeping him around, I think that ultimately Langoliers is going to be the guy. But listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Listen, Tyler Flowers, DR Nod, they're not here. When you look at Tampa Bay, hey, Willie C is in Tampa Bay today.
Yeah.
So I think the good thing about it is he's getting the at bats, and he has a chance to really make his stake that he's here to stay. Similar to an Austin Riley. We only brought Austin Riley up, to fill in the gap for a couple of things. But man, when he started hitting the line and off the ball, we had to keep him. So I want to see Contreras, because here's the thing: Contreras is actually known for a power bat. I want to see him yak one. If we had listen now, come on now, Down Yonder Sports, Braves Nation. If we had a power hitting catcher, let me ask y'all something. When is the last time we really had a power hitting catcher? As a matter of fact, other than Brian McCann, other than B-Mac, shout out to B-Mac. Shout out to B-Mac, Javi Lopez, all of the great catchers that we had over the years. Listen to me. If we have a power bat that we can use and we can lean on with the way this team is playing, because let me tell you something. I don't want to get too hung up on the catcher, but man, let me tell you something.
I love catcher.
Braves look great. I love what I see this weekend. And guess what? If the season continues to move like it's going, I think we're in a position to have a lot more shows where we talk about the depth that the Braves have. But anyway, I know I'm a little hard on Willie C. I just think that we just need to continue to use him exactly the way we need him. Because let me tell you something. Now listen, what the tail of the tape was for me, and I'll leave you with it. I stop talking and I push it back over to you after I say this. The tail of the tape is this: DR Nod went out, Tyler Flowers went up. If Langoliers was really the guy and he was ready now, Langoliers gets that call. Willie C got the call, and Willie C rose to the call, and I got to shout him out, man, because I love his future. I'm just not sure that he's ready just yet. Because if you look at his minor league, totals, I think he hit 235, 240, something like that, and he's been kind of that 235 to 250 range in the minor leagues. So I really would be a lot more comfortable if my catchers are hitting over 300 in the minor leagues when they get that call up. That's just me though.
Right. And that's got to you just got to give kudos to that Atlanta Braves farm system. We get the privilege to talk like this about players like a Willie C. as Braves fans on a continuous basis, and that's awesome. I love it. Willie C. numbers for the weekend: he had 6 at bats, 4 hits. One of those hits was a double. I mean, he got one RBI, and his batting average is a .667, and we all know that it's not going to stay there for long. That's just for what we used him for, like Mike said. For what we used him for was awesome, and for us to come out 2-1 and head of the NL East right now, gotta love it, right? Great weekend. Can't stand the Mets in the way. Shout out for Chipper Jones calling the ESPN game. Did a great job. Need to take that mohawk down just a little bit though. Got too much gel off up in there. What you talking about now? little bit too much gel. Now we had Newcomb on the hump yesterday. Newcomb looked good. Newcomb
Mm-hmm.
looked fluent. Newcomb looked like he's ready to cause some trouble in the NL East. Just 60 games. When the next time we're gonna see Newcomb, Atlanta Braves fans, down yonder nation? When will we see Newcomb on that hump again? He's gonna get some rest, man. You gotta understand this. Ran into DeGrom that first game. Hey,
Problem.
like I said in the last show, that is one of the best pitchers, not on the Mets, but in the MLB as a whole.
Oh, absolutely.
1-0. Come on now.
Yeah.
Some people was getting a little bit skeptical. Some people were starting to back up off of the Braves for a minute. I said, you can't back off for too long. He got with 60 games. And that's DeGrom we playing right now. That just ain't no anybody. Okay.
Right.
Newcomb was on the hill, looked good, looked fluent. 14-1, straight smash down, beat down of the Mets. And which I thought we was gonna do because Facilio for the Mets, that pitcher, I just knew our bats was going to get to rolling. I knew Ozuna was going to get to rolling. Albies started off hot, fast, and early. I just knew there was going to be something that got our bats rolling. And right now, I want to see this continue, which probably is. I think this is going to continue. And somebody's going to be in trouble. And I think what Ron Washington, go back to Ron Washington now.
Mm-hmm.
He do mentally and physically things with these players to get them readjusted, to get them back in the game, to get their bats going. He tweaks stuff. He says stuff. He helps them refocus and get the bats back where they need to be. And if he can do that in a matter of one game, watch yourself, Lord. This man is a coach that in this Atlanta organization can get these bats rolling time and time and time again. Now, like I said, if it ain't broke though, don't fix it. Might little disagreed on me with Willie C, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when you get down about the game 50, okay, Flowers is gonna be, come on now, for Flowers is probably gonna be our guy. Knows the system, knows how to call a game, and know how to catch our aces and pitches, which is also plays a huge part. I seen Willie C had to dig a lot of them out of the dirt. Willie C had to dive and dig a lot of balls out of dirt and put his chest on a lot of balls. Might not get that with a Tyler Flowers because he know how to catch a Newcomb. He know how to catch, you know what I mean, Soroka. He know how to catch him and call that game, and he can feel him from behind the plate, which plays a major role, especially when you get into the playoffs. So Willie C, congratulations. Great weekend. I love it. But we're going to see what when Flowers don't come back, how this turn out. Okay, Mike. Now, what I really got out of this weekend for the Atlanta Braves was this. When they down, they come back ready to go. Unlike that young team we had, once they got down, the next game they were kind of down still, and then by the end of that, by the 7 inning stretch, they were starting to fight back. We seen a lot of that last year. Not happening this year. They look like their mindset is differently. Shout out to Freddie Freeman for being that leader in the clubhouse that we've been wanting. Now, how do besides Big Fred, who is the other leader on that Atlanta Braves team that you like? Who you think is the other leader besides Freddie Freeman?
I mean, you can't mention. See, this is what I love about the Braves. You can't mention one. You got to put them together, and it's Albies. Well, so it's a couple things. Let me. That's a good question. It's Albies and Acuna clearly because we got youthful leadership on our team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that here's my thing. Both Albies and Acuna could both challenge for the MVP trophy. If they both were challenging for the MVP title at the end of the season in this shortened season, it wouldn't surprise me at all because I'm going to tell you something. We talk a lot about Acuna. We talk a lot about Freddie Freeman. But again, my favorite Brave, hands down, is Isaiah Albies because at the end of the day, he gives you above average fielding, above average bat. You can put him at any position in the lineup. He doesn't usually get himself out. He doesn't really, he's not an aggressive swinger. Like you're gonna have to work to get Isaiah Albies out, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think that when you put that trifecta, that medley, that trinity, you know what I mean, that holy grail of leadership, that's why the Braves are such a sound team offensively and defensively. And here's another thing. Let me tell you something. If we had the kudos part of this show, I gotta do it. Listen, I don't even know if we had the kudos part of it, but let me tell you something. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves outfield. Ender Inciarte, Ronald.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You know
so
what I mean? And you know, with that mix of Duval, Adams, whoever we throw out there, you know, um, left field, whatever. You know what I mean? Left field, right field, don't even matter who we put out there. Shout out to the Braves outfield. I saw Inciarte and Acuna just making some of the best defensive plays with ease that I believe that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years.
defense.
That may be one of the best defensive
Yeah,
outfields because
yeah.
here's the thing: for all we talk about Acuna's bat and Akuna Matata, all of that kind of stuff, which we love. Let me tell you something. He has got a rocket for a right arm,
Oh
and I
God,
think
yes.
that Acuna is one of those 5 tool players that you really just can't have enough of those guys. Shout out to the Braves farm system. Shout out to the
Yeah.
scouts. Shout out to the entire organization, and shout out to Liberty Media. Lastly, because y'all locked him up. Y'all got him for cheap. Be honest with you, two
Oh yeah.
seasons
Cheap
now,
deal.
he may still hold out because he might realize that he might be one of the top 2, 3 players in baseball, and he might think y'all are giving me too cheap. But again, we'll worry about that when we cross that bridge. But I think, like I said, man, I mean, we're so now. Let me ask you this though. But would you say, and this is just a bit of a curveball a little bit. Is we know that this is Freddie Freeman's team. Freddie has earned the
No
right.
question.
Freddie is the elder
No question.
statesman of this team. But how long do you think it is before it becomes either Albies or Acuna's? Could it be this season? Could it be in the next couple of seasons? Or has Freddie Freeman done enough right now where as long as he is a Brave, it's his team?
I mean, we are flirting with that right now as we speak. Okay. Coming out of last season, we are flirting with Acuna and Albies kind of becoming the face of the franchise. And let's
Mm,
just be honest now. Freddie Free do not like the limelight. He's a low key, humble type of guy. He don't like that
mhm.
limelight. And I ain't saying that limelight come with leadership. Or leadership bring limelight. I ain't saying that either. But he just don't like. He like to be behind the curtains a little bit, flashing the lights, running the whole program. He's a producer. He like to be back there and see his name every now and then he goes on about his business. He bring his lunch pail to work every day. He shows up with his hard hat and his hard boots, his hard toes, shoes on, and he goes to work. Now, like
Right.
I said, we might be flirting on that right now. Albies and Acuna might be flirting on becoming the face of this franchise and also becoming the leaders in that dugout. And now I can see Max Fried. Let's not forget about Max Fried. Matt Fried also is one of my underground leaders that and he stumbled a little bit his first starting out. That's okay. Freddie Max Fried gonna be all right. You understand me? Please understand that, Atlanta Braves fan. Matt Fried is gonna be that guy that's gonna come through in the clutch. I can
Absolutely.
also see him stepping up, being that leader. Might be already doing it, being that leader in the dugout that Acuna and the Albies and the Freddie Free look at when the barn really started to burn down. And if he could control this team, especially on the mound with the Braves, Atlanta Braves pitching history, as y'all out there know, Atlanta Braves fan, our leaders always been our Braves. Our front runners, I meant pitchers. Our front runners always been our pitchers. Our main names, our ticket sellers, our jersey sales, always been our pitching. 4 or 5 pitchers at a time, and I can go down the line. I ain't finna name them. Y'all know 'em. We always had that leadership from the mound from day one. Since day one, the pitching mecca, Atlanta Braves organization, it always pointed directly towards the pitcher. Now, for it to be on the first baseman, a second baseman, and the outfielder, it's different for us. And all you new age Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Braves fans out there, and haven't did no history on our pitchers, and which I know y'all have, just go back and look. Year after year after year, they was our headliners and continue
So
to be our headliners. And I think
so
Matt
so
Freed could do that too.
so let me ask you this though. So I guess before we go over closing thoughts, all that, when we get to the end of the show a little bit, um, right now, who are your 3 most impressive Braves? It can be a mix of pitchers or hitters. Who are your 3 most impressive Braves you got right now? Just a couple games in.
Couple
We just
games in,
starting to whet our appetite. Who you got right now? Who's sticking out to you and why?
and I mean, I got two for sure, and that's my ace Soroka, the Canadian boy. I let me Soroka, man.
Yes.
Okay, and then I mean, I got to go with Albies, and Besides LBs, okay, I'm finna switch the gears a little bit. Austin Riley and Soroka, and I praised Austin Riley when he came up. 18 home runs last year. When he first came, I was hitting everybody up saying, "Man, you got to see this kid. You got to see this kid, man." I'm gonna go with Austin Riley back at his natural position, third base in the hole. I'm loving it. He looked good. He looked natural there. He looked fluent. He looked like he's gonna be the next Chipper Jones. Get at me. Holler at me. I said it. I'm going with Austin Riley, and I'm going with Soroka. And these two have impressed me like no other. I mean, Soroka hit one so far yesterday. I think it went out of the park.
Riley. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, Austin Riley hit one out of the
Yeah,
park the
yeah,
other day so far. I think somebody outside the stadium eating a hot dog, and it fell into the hot dog and knocked the chili off the hot dog. Yeah, chili and the hot dogs.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
Austin Riley
400.
knocked it right off his hand.
Right.
I can see these two, man, impressing me. And if they can catch 5 for 60 games, that's all we need. Look out here, MLB world. We coming for that neck, we coming from that throat, and we are not stopping. And this is gonna be the year where we can come into this thing and go back to back. Because you're coming off a short 60 games, and how they gonna start up next year is also a question. When they gonna start up the following year is a question. But for to answer your question, Austin Riley and Soroka, our young boys, young bulls.
Okay.
I love
Okay.
it.
All right. You got two. You give me one more. You got two. Okay.
Okay, Camargo, Swiss Army knife.
Talk to him, man. Talk to him
I'm
about
I'm
Camargo.
I'm 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 loving the way you understanding your role, playing your role, and also being, get me on this now, being a Atlanta Brave. It ain't easy being an Atlanta Brave. Our fan base is ridiculous. You hear me? We like to critique and we like to praise at the same time. I don't know how that happened, but we do it at the same time, all in one sentence. Camargo, my third one. Continue to play your role. Continue to be that guy in the dugout. Continue to be that guy ready, on call, on standby, and ready to come in and produce and give us good quality defense like you always do. I think I think he's one of the best defensive players on this Atlanta Braves team. No question about it.
Mm.
I love Camargo. I love his persona. I love his AKA swag that he got. His Atlanta Braves swag. Swiss Army knife. Keep yourself together. Stay ready. True professional. Continue to be that Atlanta Braves pillar that we always liked about you, Camargo. Keep it going. So, hey, there you go. Soroka, Austin Riley, and Camargo. Y'all boys better
Man.
get it together, man.
Ooh.
Hey,
Hey,
get
that.
it together out there. Huh?
Hey, man. Hey,
Better
hey,
watch out,
hey.
man.
You get me excited. I'm gonna tell you why you excite me with that
Woo.
because look, I'm gonna tell you like this because majority of the guys that are watching this podcast, guys and gals that are watching this podcast right now, they saw the game and
Yes, sir.
everybody got different guys. At the end of the day, that's how you know it's a successful series
Yes,
because
sir.
the three guys you name, I'm like, man, now one of those guys you name is in mine, but
Go ahead. Go ahead. Give it to me, Mike. Give it to me.
the other two I got, you're gonna be like, oh man, I hate I missed it because you could have easily talked about these
Yeah.
guys.
Yes, sir.
But listen, the way you nail those three, Camargo, we got to talk about it. Austin Riley, got love it, right? But again, here's the thing: my number one is your number one, and it's Soroka, and I'll tell you why. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, losing 1-0 to Jake DeGrom is never a bad thing. I think
Oh,
when I watched Soroka pitch and I watched DeGrom pitch, it made me excited again because it reminded me of just
yeah.
Little League. It reminded me of just watching two guys who were dominant at what they do, just going back and forth against each other. It was the Braves versus the Mets, but it was also DeGrom versus Soroka. Let's just be honest, right? It was it was those two guys basically just one artist come up, he do his artistry. The other artist come up, he do his artistry. And again, it's a 1-0 game.
Right.
I never have a problem with 1-0 baseball games because that's kind of the way the game is supposed to be played. It's a chess game, right? So you
Right.
nailed it.
That's right.
Now, my other two guys are two guys that I could talk about all day. Now, one of them is our newest addition, which we talked about, which I think is going to pay us dividends now and in the playoff, and it's Marcell Ozuna.
Ooh, yeah.
Marcell Ozuna came up with hit after hit after hit, and it was clutch. 5-3 game, Marcell Ozuna hits the home run. Yesterday, Marcell Ozuna hits another home run.
Get some
Marcell
run.
Ozuna looks like he came in mid-season form already.
Yeah.
Marcell Ozuna is the type of player that we needed as a Braves fan, I would say over the last 5 to 10 years, because it doesn't matter who he pitches against. He shows up in clutch moments. And hey, Braves fans, we remember when we played against the Cardinals. He
Yes,
was
sir.
he was one of the guys that played a hand in our destruction, and now he's on the good guy. So again, I could talk more and more and more about Ozuna, his power, having a DH, what that does for this team. Just know that a lot of our offensive firepower up in this guy, and we have him on a 1 year deal. And I really hope that he doesn't become Josh Donaldson-esque, come back to Atlanta, you know, hits for career numbers, and we can't afford him. But again, if we have those kind of problems, that means the Braves are in a good position. My last guy is one of my favorite Braves. He is the Brave that, I mean, even the most positive Braves fan, they've been hard on this guy for a long time. He's a homegrown guy. He's a Georgia guy. You know what I mean? He went to Vanderbilt. You know,
Oh,
and he plays some really good shortstop for us. What was always our question was never his defensive ability. It was his ability to hit, really to be a consistent hitter and to be able to hit the changeup, you know, which is what a lot of guys struggle with. They struggle with the changeup. They can nail a fastball, but the changeup always, you know, almost has them where they herniate their disc because they can't really, they can't,
right.
the speed and the movement just throws them off, right? But Dansby Swanson, oh my gosh, Dansby Swanson, you have started off this season absolutely on fire.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to get too geeked off of a series, but 5 hits, I mean, come on, man. Some of the home runs you hit are ridiculous. The defensive plays you're making are ridiculous. You look very locked in and ready to roll and ready to lead the Braves this season. Here's another thing. Now. Here's another thing. We talk about Acuna. We talk about Albies. We talk about all these other guys. But the more you get out of Dansby Swanson, we don't even talk about him. And the more you get out of Austin Riley, which you just named, those are going to be the little tweaks that we make that have us where we could really run away with the division. And that's what we're going to need once we go through that gauntlet and we start playing the national. We see the Scherzers and the, you know, all of the different assortment of pitchers in MLB this season. But I think, like I said, those are my three. And I mean, like, man, look, man, you look at the guys we naming, man. We naming darn near the whole thing. Everybody is stepping up, and that's what you need for a championship team. If Acuna struggling at the plate a little bit is all we kind of got to gripe about from the weekend, and it was a good weekend. It was a good series, and I think every person watching this podcast, even if you're not a Braves fan, just to see baseball back, it's just got to warm your heart up, man. Like I said, it was the most normal weekend I've had in quite some time.
It just felt good laying on that couch having a cold pop, man, watching them Atlanta Braves go at it, and quiet for a moment there, and then yelling at the screen. That's baseball, y'all, and it's
That's
back, and it's gonna be back. As long as the Marlins down there don't ruin the whole deal. Talking about raining on somebody parade. Good God Almighty. So hey, once we get deep into this thing, then we're gonna get to know our team even more and more. Me and Mike is not jumping the gun like he said. We are not jumping the gun just after 3 games now.
right.
Oh, pump the brakes. But we are excited, and we got a right to be excited. Hey, y'all got
Yeah.
a right to be excited, man. This
Yeah.
behind on the sports. It's your
Yes,
boy
sir.
Jumbo Team, that big Mike. We got a right to be excited about our team, America's team. Yeah, I said it. Now y'all better cut it out. I'm gonna continue to say that it's
Oh yeah.
America's team, and then there ain't no question about that. And just like I
Nope.
said, everybody on this roster is stepping up, and it's starting to look good. In 60 games, NL East, watch out. Here we come. We defending the East, and we always do. Okay. Hey, follow me at Twitter, man. At Jimmy Obama. At Jimmy Obama. Follow me on Twitter. Hey, follow my boy Mike. Go ahead and plug yourself, Mike. Plug that thing
Hey
in there.
man, follow me at Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Again, follow me. I follow you back. Again, if I don't tweet enough, inbox me, tell me what I should be talking about. Y'all get me right, man. We're an interactive show. We don't like to sit up here and just say, "Hey, y'all,
Right.
this is the way things are, and this is the way it is." Listen, man. We grow. We get our topics. We just vibe, man, off of what you guys say to us, and the feedback y'all got for us. And again, man, we're gonna keep improving. And like Jimmy say, man, we ain't going nowhere.
We ain't
We
going
right
nowhere.
here.
We ain't going
Another
nowhere.
week talking about these
Hey,
Braves, and we love it. We love it. You know.
and I always gonna love it. Shout out to Caitlin Barlow. Shout out to Caitlin Barlow at Caitlin _ Go follow a super Atlanta Braves fan, and she dropping them knowledge bombs.
Shout out
Okay,
to Kayla.
drop the knowledge bomb on Twitter, and I said, oh, this is hot. I gotta use it. I gotta have this, and she told me I can use it. Appreciate that. Now, let's get on to them Rays. Let's move it on along. Let's mosey along, and we'll be back at it. This is Down on the Sports. That's Atlanta Braves baseball. That's Mike Dub. I'm your boy Jimbo Dean, aka Jimbo Slice, aka Jimmy O. Bomb. And you can call me any one of those you want. Just don't call me no damn Washington National fan. Okay? And we will be getting back at y'all next week. Get used to it, like it, love it, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit that subscribe button. Leave the comments. We in here. We talking about the Braves. It's going nowhere. All right? Until next week, we'll be seeing y'all later. Let's go ahead and kick these Rays. Let's kick these Rays ass, okay? I'll let your boy. All right, Big Mike. Be safe. Tell the wife I said what's happening. See y'all next week. Adios.